Us Tribe. We back in the building. This is your girl Dre.
And Renee, how is everybody?
Hope everyone's doing well. So we're gonna take a brief pause right quick to get our notes and our whole lives together. So be right back.
Hang on tight.
Hey family, it's Renee. Are you guys looking to learn firearm safety, or do you want to just get in shape with you and 9 of your friends? If so, make sure you get it from BodyBioTactical.com. Let him and his team get you into fighting shape. Not only is it affordable, he comes to you. Again, that is BodyBioTactical.com.
All right. So we in the building tonight. Man, like this was like a really prosperous week.
Right?
So I can share my good news, then we'll go forward. So, guys, I closed on my house. My husband and
Woohoo!
we needed like a clapper thing. We closed on our house, y'all. Like, that's such an amazing feeling for black folks to close on the house because, these folks think, you know, whatever. So, I could say I'm like the fourth generation homeowner, you know what I'm saying? Despite like my great grandmother and my great granddad, coming out of slavery, just even living off his pension, they own a home and own land. And my grandmother, who had limited education, owned land. My parents, went to Boston, owned property there. And now I can say, yes, I'm part of that crew.
That's what's
Woo!
up.
All right. So, all that theatrics, we're gonna move forward. So what's today's topic on?
We're talking about black children in foster care,
Oh,
or as I
Lord.
like to think of it as the modern day plantation.
Ooh, so this is gonna be a heavy topic, y'all, because I can go on forever about foster care. My first job out of undergrad school, I was a foster care social worker. So we're gonna talk about that. And we're gonna talk about some deep stuff, and also too, we're gonna give some shout outs to folks who are doing the work for foster care children, because I have a really amazing associate out of Maryland. So we're gonna talk about that. So let's kick it off, Nate.
All right. Well, first things first, what is foster care?
So foster care is pretty much when children have been neglected, abused by their biological parents or guardian. So they are pretty much taken away, as folks would like to say, but usually it's an investigation that goes on. It's a whole assessment, and if the children are deemed neglected or abused, they are removed from the home. I know I sound all like policy wise, like policy. That's what it is. So pretty much you meet with so we'll go into foster care. Then you have folks on the foster care side who's the foster care parents. They have to go through quote unquote all these classes, and we're gonna talk about that too. How they pretty much discriminate against black foster care parents versus the white foster care parents. So that's what foster care is pretty much about. They're just pretty much, I like to say, in like a holding space or a sacred space, depends on the foster parent now. And these children are pretty much being raised, or I like to say held, in these homes.
Wow, that's really heavy.
Mhm.
Jeez, I
It's
didn't.
deep. Yeah.
All right. But when I was sitting around and gathering my notes and doing my reading and research for the show tonight, I learned that over 400,000 children are currently in foster care.
Oh my God. 400,000?
Over 400,000.
My Lord.
And I learned that over 600,000 of children, like throughout the span of their life, would have spent time in foster care.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, and foster care is no joke, because you got to also think about it too. You have foster homes and you have foster group homes. A lot of times when they're in these group homes or these residential homes, a lot of ish goes down, that a lot of these homes are still running that should be shut down. And we'll talk about that. But that's a large percentage of children in foster care. Man.
And 22% of, as of 2016, 22% of all children in foster care were of black, non-Hispanic, or non-biracial lineage.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
That's almost a quarter of them.
That is. That's a large percentage that's in foster care. Wow. That's awful. That's awful. And they also said too is more African American children, or Black American children that are likely to enter foster care and remain there longer than white children. Because of, despite the racial disparities, you have more quote unquote, they will say like dysfunction depends on where you live at, right? In the United States that goes on, and they're looking to always remove black children out the home. You could have a latchkey child, for instance, and they're like, well, why is this child, is
Can
in
you
the fifth grade?
can
Okay,
you explain a little bit about what latchkey is for the younger crowd?
I forgot we have younger folks on here too. So latchkey is pretty much like the moms who, or the single parents, or just parents in general, who, they have to go to work, and they're like, here's a key, here's the responsibilities. Um, and it pretty much, the transition was like in the 70s. So I would like to say like my brother's generation. Parents have to work, and they was able to guide and trust children to say, hey, you're mature enough. Here's a key. You're going, to stay home. I'm gonna call you at 3 o'clock. Make sure you got your homework done, whatever the case is. So pretty much they was, I don't want to say raising themselves, but they just knew I have a responsibility to make sure that I have to do what I have to do until mom, dad, or whoever gets home, right?
Right.
So that's the term latchkey for the younger folks, or for folks who like, I never heard that term. So we giving y'all some social science terms up in this piece.
That's why we're the urban social scientist. Duh.
Facts. So that's latchkey. So yeah, so we have, depends on, like I said, where you live at, you will have more of Black American children in foster care. And when they go into foster care, you know what, guys? A lot of times they are looking to terminate rights. So whenever you hear someone says TPR, that's terminating parental rights. I'm gonna give
Wow.
y'all some terms. Oh yeah. So anyone that's like, what's the main thing? We're gonna TPR, and that's harsh. Instead of saying, well, we're gonna reunify the children with the mom. They usually, for black children, from my experience, they usually want to do TPR. And once they do TPR, they have to go through everyone in that family on the mom side, the dad side. And if no one doesn't step up and say, hey, we're going to take, this child and raise it on our own, and, go through the adoption, this child will be pretty much in foster care, residential homes forever until they get 18 or they age out the system.
Gee, this is so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Very.
Let's go into the treatment of these foster children and the treatment of the biological parents. Like, how does that go hand in hand from a social work perspective?
So, from my perspective and from my experience working in foster care, so I'm gonna tell y'all something. I was like 23 years old, right? And I'm laughing because I'm like, oh my God, I have to think of the age I am now. And I'm like thinking, yes, this is gonna be amazing. Then you get handed over 30 caseloads. And we're not talking about like 30 individual children. We're talking about, okay, they have siblings. Most where I worked at, it was in rural Alabama. So meth was big. Meth was like huge. We're not talking about opioid. We're talking about meth. They're making it, on the trailers. A lot of these children who were in these meth homes, so let's talk about that piece real quick,
Okay.
are white. They were white. They did not get removed, okay, from their parent. I had my black foster care children, let's say their mom, had to work overnight. Someone snitched on mom, the child is removed from the home. See what I'm saying?
My mind is
And
blown.
yes, I'm serious. Like I have to go on calls and deal with that. So as a 23-year-old black woman in this rural area, which everyone knew each other, like the one of the okay, let me tell you about this lady real quick. She was a B. She was a white woman. She was one of the like assistant directors over pretty much removing the child. Her husband was the sheriff of the county I worked in, and they was just like the slave patrol, right? They was just ready to
Worse.
snatch all the black children from the homes. And they went to school with the ones who did meth and, oh yeah, we're gonna give them a second chance. But the black children was always getting snatched from the homes. And we had to work to, and we could talk about reunification, but it was like, oh, we're going to CPR. And at 23 years old, like I was always in front of the judge. I had to do recommendations on why, this parent had to work overnight, get recommendations from their employer, get recommendations from their family saying, hey, they work overnight. This, the dad, let's say, because let's be honest, is incarcerated. He probably sold weed. He's incarcerated, and they know this, but they
Yeah.
want the cycle to always be broken. So foster care is just, it's a whole, I mean, we can go into layers of this, especially when it comes to racial disparities.
Right. And also, these children that they're snatching up out of, the middle of the night, they're telling them to grab a backpack full of stuff, and they don't have time to process these feelings that they're having. So a lot of times what they do is that they're 5 times more likely to prescribe them like hardcore psychiatric drugs.
Mhm. And also too, good point. And another thing too, they'll put their stuff into trash bags. So what is that saying? So imagine you getting woke up in the middle of the night. Here, put your stuff in the trash bags. And you're like, what? So that's
Yeah.
already saying you're trash, right?
Yeah.
You're trash. Also too, like you said, oh, you have ADHD at 5 years old. Okay, this child at five, think when you was 5 years old. I remember when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, yay, I'm playing with my friends. Of course you're gonna get up out your seat. You got so much stuff going on at home and you're acting out, right? Because we're acting out things that's going on at home
Yep.
instead of saying, hey, let's get to the root of the problem. So this is foster care 101, guys. And when I tell people that, I do a lot of consulting work with folks who, are foster parents, black foster parents, or, their child got removed. I know so many loopholes that they don't tell black folks. They tell the white ones that, and that's why the white ones are easier to reunify with their child.
That is crazy.
And then don't forget, if you live in like a small county or a small town, everyone know each other. It's always like, well, we're gonna put services in the home. So listen to this, everyone. Whenever you go to your ISP, individual service provider, if anyone has any issues with, trying to get your child back, make sure that you get everything in writing at your ISP because they can go around and delete and say, well, this person was non-compliant, so we're not going to reunify them. So let's say you missed the appointment of getting a drug test, because they do random drug tests, and you missed that appointment. You're quote unquote non-compliant, and they're raised to TPR. You got 18 months, so you have like a year and some change before they can TPR your rights. Don't ever let them say, oh, you have 3 months. You have 18 months to reunify back with your child. Okay, we'll get back to the regular program. I'm like dropping jewels. Like I do this I can do this in my sleep.
All right, but I was reading that these are like the top three readings because I was reading all these like personal stories of like these black children who have gone through foster care systems,
Mhm.
and I noticed three big things that they all had in common. Okay, and so I
Okay.
want to call this the three main reasons that black children are snatched from their parents. One, drug addiction and alcohol abuse.
Mhm.
Two, the parents relinquish the rights because they can't afford them. And three,
Mhm.
guardian death.
Yep. Yep.
Like I mean, we pretty much covered that whole drug addiction with them taking the children. But do you mind going into the parents who actually relinquish the rights to them?
So let's talk about the parents who relinquish their rights, right? So that's the TPR, terminating parental rights. So let's be honest, black life is tough. Black
Yeah.
life is hard, especially if you don't have support system, right? Or if you have a dysfunctional support system, because let's talk about dysfunctional the support system. So we see generations of children who've been in foster care. You may someone who says, you may know someone now that's like, man, I'm like second generation foster care child. We see it all the time. And it's just tough. Black life is tough. Trying to work two, three jobs is tough. Trying to raise two, three, multiple children is tough. The dad, like I said, could be out the picture, or maybe the dad is a single dad because we don't talk about them enough neither.
Right.
and the mom has a drug addiction, or the mom's like, you know what, I'm done, I want to live my best life, you're going to raise these kids, and he has no support, because we see you're seeing a high rise of that too. And a lot of times, these are the kids who just like the parents both gave up. The grandparents are like, listen, I'm trying to live my best life, or I'm raising, your auntie and them's kids. I can't do it. So these poor children are just left to suffer in foster care. Unless they have a really dope, amazing foster care parent. A lot of them are just left out here, just pretty much floating along, and you will hear a lot of them falling through the cracks because they got lost in the system. Can y'all believe that the the social workers don't go out and visit, and that's when you have so many children ending up dead? Because I think it was a case back here. I can't think. They found so many foster children. It was in one. Oh, it was in New Jersey. It was about 8 of them. They was black. The foster care parents locked them up, starved them, and what happened was the social worker never went out to do an assessment, never went out to do a visit. That's a big no-no, because you're supposed to go out there every month. I know I used to go out to my foster care parents' house all the time. I used to pop up on them like, let me see what they doing.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of that, and guess what? A lot of times it's not notated, and when it's not notated, it never happened. And then they don't communicate with the parent. So whenever you see someone, like you said, the number two of, the parents just give up. A lot of times we're checked out. Black life is tough. People are having a very tough time coping. So that's why that's like that's the top 3 reasons why a lot of black children are in foster care.
Wow, like you just really broke that down, you know.
It's
And
tough.
do social workers like, do they just forget to quote unquote file things or write down that they went to visit these people, or is it just like they just say they do to get it out the way?
So we have a combination of all things. Let's be honest with, okay, here in Alabama, we have Department of Human Resources, which I work for them. I think the whole damn system needs to be dismantled,
Yeah.
to be honest. The social workers that I know are burnt out. Because imagine you're going in there, you're first. Like I said, I was 23 years old with 30 on my caseload and no guidance. It was like, bye, go figure it out. Now, mind you, I have more education than my supervisor. My supervisor was burnt out, y'all. By the time I got to her, she was like, child, and she was black. I'm burnt out. And me and her used to clash because I was just so passionate about it. I'm passionate about children, and that just really touched the spot. So a lot of times they quote unquote, oh, I forgot. But a lot of times they didn't forget. They was like in their office chilling. Also, too, social workers are overworked. We also have to do unsupervised, we have to do supervised visitations, y'all. Them visitations are real.
Really?
Them visitations get so real. At first, in the back in the day, when social work, with social work, when you didn't have a lot of more issues going on, you have like the one way. Y'all know the one way mirror, which you can look in, but they can't see who's behind that mirror.
Yeah.
So at the state agencies, they will bring their children there. Let's say you couldn't go to a McDonald's, so they will bring their children for a supervised visit. So usually, a lot of times, I remember like sitting in the room, or I would sit in my homegirl's room, which was another social worker, and I would like look in there, but okay, they cool. But they get so real because you gotta sit in there. You don't know if they smuggling drugs. In there, you don't know what's going on. Between the visits, or the if the parent was, let's say, the offender, like sexually abused. We have to work that out to see whether or not they can have visitations. Period. So visitations really takes a lot out of you. But I feel like you should still be documenting what's going on. I know I used to document like, okay, let me see what's going on. Let me put documentations there. A lot of times, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is gonna sound very harsh. Social workers like, I don't give a f. I'm sick of this client, and I want them to get TPR. I want this particular client, and they will target particular clients to get TPR because they're like, well, they should be doing the work. What if they have a comprehension issue? What if they have a learning disability? Like, um, sometimes social workers, the ones that I work with, they're just lost compassion, and some of them are for the wrong reasons. So a lot of times it's a target, and a lot of times, you have some social workers that's just burnt out, and that's not the field for them to be in. So yeah, it gets real when it comes to like foster care. Like people don't understand like it's so many layers of dysfunction when it comes to foster care, and especially when it comes to certain states, that all the systems need to be dismantled because they follow the same antiquated rules and policies, and a lot of these policies are not made for Black Americans.
Okay. Hmm. And like, is it true that the state slash social worker, I'm just kind of grouping them together as one entity, will try to drive the wedge between the child and its parent?
Yes, yes, yes. Because I'm working on a case now. I'm giving some advice to one of my mom's friends. Now she's the aunt. Now listen to this. She's the aunt. So the other aunt, so she has custody of her two nephews because the parents, her sister said, I can't do it. I'm tired. The sister's on drugs. The
Okay.
dad's on drugs. The aunt, was taking care of them. Then here comes the other aunt because you got splitting. Oh, I'm the favorite auntie. I'm getting y'all Jordans. I'm taking y'all to y'all favorite restaurant. Now, mind you, the aunt that's raising them is like, listen, you gotta follow the rules. You gotta do this.
Yeah.
Then I think she had like whooped them, right?
Which
So
one?
one, the aunt that's raising the children,
Okay.
she had whooped one of the boys, and he called the police. Now I don't know in y'all household. I know if I was to ever say to my mama or my dad, I'm calling the police, they will be packing my shit and be like, you gonna go live with them. I know my mother told me that. She didn't say shit, but she's like, I'm packing your stuff. You gonna go live with them, and you gonna see how they gonna really treat you. And I used to be like, oh my god, like I was traumatized after she told me that. But like this, so they end up getting removed from the aunt that's raising them. So my mom was like, well, can you help, such and such? So I helped her. And I said, so what happened? She said, they lied on her and said, oh, she hit me with a pipe. But that was an old bruise that they received from the bio mom.
Wow.
And so they looking at it like, hmm. And here goes the aunt. Yeah, here goes the other aunt, the quote unquote good aunt getting the Jordans and stuff. Yeah, she abused them. Now, mind you, she know that she was lying because she wanted them because money's involved. Because we're going to talk about the money. Oh, yeah, I can raise them because she don't do a good job. Now, mind you, she was raised, these kids are 11 and 12. She raised them since they was two and three.
Right.
So you have stuff like that, and you got the drama because court is nothing but drama. They're like, oh, word, this is what's going on. And here goes these black folks again. They got their drama going on. Oh, they fighting over money, and we're gonna talk about the benefits you get when you have foster care children. So that's the case that I'm working on right now. So you have the state that will try to split them up, and because they want to create more dysfunction. Why? Because we have so many jails that's still being built here in Alabama.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these foster care children, unfortunately, because they deal with so much trauma, a lot of them, commit crime. Not saying all of them, and a lot of them is the prison to pipeline, even with foster care.
Well, you just really dropping it tonight, man. I'm just like, my mind is blown right now.
Yeah, and I want to drop this on y'all too, real quick, because I know we're going to talk about, we do need more black foster families. There's only 6.5% of foster families that's black.
6.5%.
Yes.
Wow, man. But how do you become a foster parent?
So let's talk about becoming a foster parent. So for those who look, that's the well-to-do black folk.
Yeah.
You can become a foster parent. Like, let's be honest. How many of us would want to become foster parents? I had talked to my husband about it. That's our move once we get settled in our house. Why? Because we can be the village. If you want to become a foster parent, listen, you can go to your local Department of Children and Family Services and ask for an application. You probably can apply online, but I'm going to tell y'all one thing. You better get ready to have your whole entire life combed through times 10. They scrutinize our application more because they feel we don't have the resources, because it's a holistic commitment. So let's talk about holistic. We're talking about mind, body, spiritual, emotional. You're pretty much the parent. You're the guardian. So you have to, if that child is sick, you gotta take them to the foster. You gotta take them to the hospital. Also, to contact their social worker. If that child's having issues, in school, you have to, make sure you go to school and you're represented as a guardian. You have to deal with if they have, any type of trauma, or if they get and advocate. Do they need ADHD, or that child is just really talkative and bouncing off the walls? Okay, we have those children. We all been there. So to become a foster parent, I would say go to your local Department of Children and Family Services. Here in Alabama is Department of Human Resources, and apply to become a foster parent. With that, don't just think, yay, I got in. You're gonna have to take some classes, and the classes are bullshit. Let me be honest with y'all. The
Really? Like, what are they
classes,
teaching you?
they're teaching you, oh, this is how you deal with going to your child's school. Really? I need to have a class on going to their school to talk to the principal. Like I remember sitting through a class like, no, you need to be teaching them. Like, what about trauma? What if they wake up with like night tremors? What do we do with that? Like we need to because they do have night tremors. They do have so many um issues because you're getting removed. That's like such a traumatic event. You're being removed from your parent. That's or the only person that raised you.
Yeah.
So you sit through like a few classes. Um and you're like, listen to this and foo nonsense. And you're like, really? That's it? Then they're gonna say, well, the money's not yours, so let's talk about the money. You get a
Okay.
stipend. You get a stipend to make sure that your child, your foster child, is taken care of. So let me put this disclaimer out there. If I know you're a foster parent and I see your child looking bummy, but you looking fresh to death, I have a problem with you, and I'm gonna check you because that money is not yours. I remember I had one foster parent. I ain't lying, y'all. She took the money and paid her mortgage. Her mortgage.
Are you serious? That is
Yes.
dirty.
Yes. Took the money, paid her mortgage every month. So I was like, so this, mind you, this she was on my case. She was one of my foster parents I had to deal with. And I remember I had to confront her like, hey, my child was saying you was taking the money, paying your mortgage. And she was like, no, that's not true. Well, they're staying here. I said, listen, they have their own separate check. That's for them. That's for their livelihood, not to pay. Well, they're under my roof. I said, oh, okay. Child, I made sure I went to like my supervisor. My supervisor act like she didn't want to help. I went to the director of my agency and I said, I have a problem with that. So we need to investigate. We removed that child. And she
Oh,
was getting two checks because my foster child had a baby.
okay.
And once and they try to keep them together because she was the mom. So she
Yeah.
was getting a lovely check. My child, my teenager at the time, she was looking like she was homeless, going to high school.
Wow.
And I'm like, she should not be looking like she's home. Like I would have to take her out my own pocket, get her hair done, buy her some clothes, and I wasn't supposed to do that. I was like, no, ma'am, we're gonna get you in another foster home. So you have stuff like that, and guess what? The foster mom was white,
Of course.
and mind you, the foster mama, her mama was living there. And I remember my child was telling me she was like dealing with abuse there. It would be times she wouldn't be able to like take a shower. She was like on a time limit on when she could take showers. It was just crazy. And it was just unacceptable. And I said, you know what? This gonna be cut off for you. We're not having that up in here. So you have stuff like that, y'all. Then they get food stamps. You get food stamps on top of being a foster kid parent.
Oh,
You
wow.
get up to like $1,000 in food stamps.
Oof.
And mind you, in my county, I only have 2 black foster care parents out of, let's see, on my caseload, out of about, let's say, 25 foster parents. 2 over the age of 65. No
And
young folks. No young folks. And my 2 that was black, that was over 65, the dopest parents ever. Like, we will be like, yo, can you take this 8th kid? They was overloaded with like so many. We would place like all our black children there because we knew those 2 particular foster parents was going to treat them like that was their child. Like, when they will go on vacation, oh, those kids was going on vacation. Like, I'm like, damn, can I be a foster kid? Like, can I be y'all kid? They will be taking them to like Jamaica, as long as they got permission. So, they treated them very well. But the white ones would treat our black children so terribly. I said, no, we can't. And they would approve all the white ones, like, yup. And I'm like, yo, their background. I was like, I want to see their background. Oh, we did it. No. I said, I know y'all didn't go treat them intensively.
well, can you go in about the racism that these black children face in these white homes?
Y'all. So I gave y'all an example of, like I said, my now she's like a full grown adult, and I'm pretty sure, and I know the baby's like a teenager. Yo, the racism. Let me tell you how bad it gets. I had a lot of my kids run away. A lot of my children ran away because they was getting physically hit, emotionally abused. They would treat the parent like in the ISP. They would use intimidation tactics. They will find out where they lived at. It will taunt the parent in front of the child, the bio parent in front of the bio child. Oh, your parents are just ghetto. They live in the projects. Let's talk about grooming and hygiene. Sometimes they wouldn't let some of my kids take showers.
Really?
This particular one I was talking about, like, she was just terrible. Like, they eventually took her license, but she wouldn't allow the black children to take showers. Like I said, she did. She gave them like 2 minutes. What are you gonna
Why?
do in
Like,
2 minutes?
what's her reason for that?
Oh, my water bill's high. Excuse me. But mind y'all, one of my children, Lord, this one here, she went over to Florida. She was a white girl. We placed her in her home. So I was like, oh, tell me what you know about your showers and all this. I was like, oh, miss, I could take as many showers as I want. I could do this. I got my own room. Like, I'm eating good. Oh, and let's talk about food. So you eating bland, unseasoned, nasty food, like, facts. And like I said, my child at the time that was in high school, my black child with, her daughter, she's like, oh, why can I not cook my own food? Oh, because you're going to burn the house down.
Really?
Girl, don't push out a child. She's 17 years old, about to be 18 at the time. No. I'm pretty sure you need to eat her cooking and change your life. So you're dealing with that type of racism. You're dealing with covert racism. Not only in the county, but you're dealing with it in your own household. Who do you have to turn to? Because majority of people in the county I lived in were white,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
All the therapists was white. So who are you gonna turn to? It was like I was getting dumped on, and then I had other people because it was only let me think of how many black social workers we had. I think it was 4 of us. Then we had the rest that was white social workers. So they kids want to come see one of us. So we're like, yo, we was just like every day bombarded with so many issues. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. During that time, like my first 6 months when I worked there, I had insomnia for 6 months. And I think I was going through like depression too because I was working so much. I would put in like 80 hours a week. And at
Wow.
the time, I was in a serious relationship at the time. And I remember my ex fiance was like, "Yo, like your job see you more than I see you." Cause I will have to do overnight sometime. I remember I had to fly to Florida one time, to get my child to get right back on the plane and come back to Alabama. And it's like 6 o'clock, and then you're like, "Oh, can you take this kid? Oh, who is it? Nope." And so when you have problematic children, they definitely don't want to take them. So we're talking about so much racism. Then we're dealing with racism, right? As Black social workers, we're dealing with racism because we in these boondock counties, and they're like, "What the f are you doing out here with this child?" So we're battling duality. We're battling racism at the job, racism in the community because we got to deal with community partners, getting resources, and we're dealing with racism because you got to deal with the white foster parents. Here you are, a Black social worker. What you going to tell me what to do? And don't let me get started with the justice system because we have the white judge, the white guardian ad litem. That's the child's lawyer, the white lawyer for the mama, the white lawyer for our agency. So you're dealing with white supremacy times 10.
And
So yeah, you would have depression, anxiety, you know, all type of issues on top of you just graduating from undergrad school. That's why I was like, yo, I gotta go get my master's so I can make a bigger difference.
right,
Because I was like, me making a difference, yeah, that's cool on this level, but I was like, no, I need to make a difference and have more quote unquote another degree behind me, so like I'm coming for you 10 times harder. um
right.
so because a lot of times they want you to stay at this bachelor's level, and let's not talk about the pay. Oh my god, the pay, to me, maybe because I was 23 years old, I'm like, yay, 30 something thousand dollars in social work, that's good. I know social workers now who has a master's, they get that amount. I'm like, no, I pay my dues. I'm not doing that. So the pay, then your white social worker who is just so abusive and terrible is getting way more money and benefits, and they don't promote work life balance. And that's what I had to learn too. Like, listen, I'm not coming. I would take so many days off, y'all. I would call out and be like, nope, I'm not going to work. Well, what about this? Such and such will handle that. I'm not doing it because if I do it, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown on the job.
Yeah,
And they wanted me to stay 2 years because they was gonna pay for my. I said no, I'm not staying here, y'all. I don't care what you offer me. I don't care if you offer me a PhD. I'm not staying here for another 2 years. So like salute to all the foster care social workers because it's a very tough, grueling gig, especially if you're a Black social worker. Like I'm talking to the Black social workers that's foster care. Y'all look like dope. Don't get burnt out. Like don't. I know it's like probably too late in the game for some, but it's a burnout. It's a burnout field because you're dealing with so much racism and so much racism at like like I remember we always talk about like elementary level all the way to graduate level.
right. And just like from what I'm hearing and like trying to comprehend, it's like when it comes to dealing with like the reuniting the black child with their black parent, it's like the state's trying to do so much to make the parent give up because the end game, the state's going to get money off of that child, and potentially a white family could get money off of that child, or they can just put them up for adoption. And some white people will come, and we thinking, oh, well, they're gonna go live with white people, so they're gonna be, better taken care of. When those white people are, like you say, abusing them physically, mentally, and even sexually.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. And mind you, I'm gonna say this twist, and y'all gonna clutch y'all pearls. You know who else have a high rate of having children in foster care? Military families.
Really?
Oh my God. Okay. For instance, yes, I'm telling on myself. Where I worked at, next door was Fort Benning. If y'all know anything about Fort Benning, it's one of the largest, military bases.
Oh, I know Fort Benning. Yeah, I know
Yo,
Fort Benning.
okay, yeah, with the military folks. Yo, we have so many cases, y'all, from military folks that, mind you, they didn't live off base. So when you live, I mean, they lived off base, so you're pretty much kind of living in the civilian world then.
Yeah.
So we have so many cases that kind of went away because they was white and they was in the military or they have some type of ranking. So keep that in mind. Cases in which the dad was sexually abusing the mom and the kids.
Oof.
Yes. I remember one case we did have. 'Cause I remember my homegirl came and got me and was like, "Yo, Dre, this case is horrific." And I remember like we was reading through the notes. I was like, "Yo, I don't know how you gonna do this case." Like I didn't. I'm like we had to have like team meetings on how to work this case because it was that horrific. The dad was like this master sergeant, sexually abusing, and no, mind y'all, the child was like under 1 years old.
Oh,
So
oh,
every day we go Fridays we would take 2 hour lunch breaks because we was like, yo, we have to decompress.
and so like how was he, still serving?
Oh, because he had the money, he had the clout. He looked like no lie, y'all. He looked like a Ken doll, and his wife looked like a Barbie doll. No lie, people was enamored by their looks. The way that he spoke and like that's not true and he had all these people vouch for him. He was a straight monster because when the forensic testing came back, he straight raped this little girl. And mind you, he did drugs, he did meth,
Oh my God.
and he got off, y'all. He got off. He had somebody like top ranking more than him, like an officer, write this sobbing remorseful recommendation, and our racist ass judge was like, "Oh, thank you for your service. We're going to, let this go." Mind you, my homegirl worked this case like she was a G, but once again, that racism, the white supremacy reigned again because this dude got off.
And that just goes to show you how disgusting these white supremacists are. Like
Facts.
they they are demonic. Like, again, I'm on record saying I'm not a big Bible person. I'm not real big in religion, but like that is something a demon would do.
Exactly. Like that case, I would never forget that case. And remember the other case I was telling you. Now I wanted to just mark down. This was my case, because at the time, like I said, I'm dating myself. Hurricane Katrina hit.
Hmm.
We had a lot of victims of Hurricane Katrina living in at this point in Alabama, and we had a it was this poor child, but he was so brilliant. He was like so black and brilliant. Wherever he's at now, I hope he's doing like amazing things. He was 11 years old. You could never tell because he was so short. Why he was short? Because the mom. So if you ever hear a thing called failure to thrive, she would purposely starve him. Well, not her. The mom's girlfriend. Yes, you heard me correct. The mom's girlfriend hated this little boy so much she would make the mom starve her own child.
And the mama did it.
The mama did it. So let's
Ooh.
say, yes, the mama did it because the stud girlfriend was like, I hate this little boy. If you want to please me, you want to be with me, you got to starve him. So we was like, wow, why is he so smart? Because he failures to die because he's starvation. You can get your kid taken away from that. Number two, he was responsible now, y'all, to clean the house. You 11 years old. On top of you being very small, gotta be this bookworm, whatever the case is. He had to clean the house by himself, top to bottom, every day. If he missed a spot, or if it wasn't to the mom's girlfriend's liking, they will make him kneel on rice and hold out the books. Now I heard this is like a big discipline thing in like in
That,
certain countries in Africa,
that's
Caribbeans.
that's a discipline thing for prisoners of war.
Mm.
That's
Right.
that's something that they did in Vietnam to the Viet Cong did that to American soldiers that they captured.
Mhm.
They made
And
them
now,
kneel rice. That's where that
wow.
comes from.
So we have that. So let me tell y'all how bad it got. So the great grandmother, not the grandmother, the great grandmother on the dad's side, she was already like 90 years old, y'all. Took custody of this kid, and they was trying to really fight this woman in the courthouse. Mind you, it was my case, and the white folks they loved it. They're like, "Oh, look at those niggers fighting." Instead of trying to break it up like, yo, this is an elder and she's like saving this child's life. So I will never forget that case because it kind of like it really just made me side eye a lot of stuff when it came to foster care. Because I'm like, why did it take this kid so long? Why did this child take so long to kind of be saved by the great grandmother? Who was the social worker before me to really see like this is a big dysfunction and abuse? It took them to come all the way to Alabama. So mind you, this could have been going on for years. Um, so that case always have a soft spot in my heart, and I like I said, wherever he's at, I hope he's doing good. So you have cases like that that just really breaks your heart, and someone steps in like, "Yo, I'm gonna raise this kid by any means necessary," and that's what we talked about. I think a few episodes before, how you have the mom, not just the boyfriend, you got mom's girlfriend now telling you, the mom, "Yo, you want to be with me? You gotta abuse your own kid." So it's
Where
something
did that,
wrong with you.
like, where did that hate come from? And I have a really big issue with mothers not protecting their children. Like, that came out of you. You're supposed to be about your kids, you know?
Right, right. And to me, I think it was a cycle because the mom kind of abused the bio mom. So like her mother abused her, and she kind
Hmm.
of was like she raised her own. So you see a lot of those cases too. You'll see a lot of people, children that's in foster care. You go back in their file. A lot of times they was in foster care or they was adopted. So, and they, do a lot of abuse. They can't cope with the trauma because they dealt with their own abuse in foster care or in, residential homes.
Hmm.
And then they have children. And then they're like, I can't cope with having these kids. I'm gonna abuse them. I get in dysfunctional relationships or unhealthy relationships, and I'm gonna abuse these kids because I gotta keep my significant other. I gotta keep my partner, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman. So for me, like I said, that shaped a lot of my how my outview, how I look on things, and why I'm a big advocate on certain things and why I'm not, because I've seen so much stuff in the whole damn criminal system. Oh my god, the judge, like the judge that we used to have to go before, yo, people used to be so shook. And I'm like, I'm not scared of this dude. I used to be like, listen, this is my recommendation, and I will fight. My clients will be like, yo, I need to go on her case because she's gonna fight. I will be fighting him. Like, yes, we're gonna have some disagreements, and if we need to go in the chambers, and we need to talk about why this child need to be reunified, especially if the parent followed everything on the paper. Come on now, you
Right.
still don't want to give this child up to the parent because, like you said, it's a money making thing.
Wow, okay.
This is
Well,
like a deep, like, I'm glad
whew,
we talk about this because this is one of the topics, like, I really have a lot of knowledge on. I'm very passionate about because so many people don't want to talk about this. And then when you go into social work, okay, I'm gonna give y'all a quick scenario. Like when I decided to change my major to social work, black folks are like, "What? You gonna be taking children away?" And I'm like, "Yo, if they are getting abused and neglected, yeah, they need to be taken away, and they need to be placed in healthy, holistic households and then also too with folks who look like them. So that's why we need to step up and become foster parents. Even if you don't want to be a foster parent, you could be a respite foster parent. You can have them overnight for emergency situations, and then you can put them. Then the social worker can place them into like an actual foster care. So start thinking about your resources and can you do it?
wow.
And I don't mean to dominate the podcast tonight.
No, you are good because like this is your lane. Like this is what you advocate for. So I'm just sitting back and learning, man.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Let's bring it to the aftermath of being in foster care.
Ooh.
How does that tend to look?
So let's talk about the aftermath of being in foster care. So let's say you age out. So depends on your state. You may age out at 16. You may age out at 21. You may age out at 16. Depends on the state where you live at, and also too if you ask for your emancipation and if you're independent enough to live on your own. I had two of my kids that was independent enough to live on their own at 16 years old. So you supposed to, now listen to this, you supposed to, if you want to continue your education, you can get set up to go to any community college for free 99. Because you're supposed to have money set aside for you. So this is the benefits now. Because you do have benefits, unfortunately, even though you're in a horrific situation. Do most of these kids get those benefits? No. Why? The social worker is not advocating for them to get the benefits because guess what? It's state funding. And guess what? I don't want to be sending no black child to get educated. What? No. We did enough. So the money's going to go back to the state. So for those of you who are foster parents or foster children and you're getting close to that aging out, there's money set aside for you. Oh, let's say you don't have any, cause where you gonna go? So it's just like, we're dealing with Reconstruction, we're dealing with, being freed as slaves. Where do you go? So you can get a apartment, and they will pay for your apartment. They will pay for your furniture. They will pay for you to get on your feet. Do y'all know that? No, because people do not tell you that. There's money set aside for you. So make sure that you get everything that's owed to you.
So what
But
happens if the money isn't claimed or, used? Does it just go away?
it goes back to the state. And
Uh,
guess what? You see a lot of these foster children end up homeless.
that's true.
A lot of them end up homeless. A lot of them have nowhere to go because where do you go? You don't even know your family. At this point in time, you probably was CPR. You probably was your parents' rights was probably terminated. So here's a article that I looked up. About 26,000 young people age out the foster care system every year, and it shows like a large percentage will become homeless because they don't know about these resources. And then two, they're like, oh, and then it's a stigma, right? Oh, you was a foster care child. I don't think I want to hire you. I don't why should I hire you? Because you might steal. So there's already this stigma, this label that's on you.
Yeah.
And also too, especially you're dealing with trauma. Come on now. You're dealing with trauma. And a lot of times, they refuse treatment because they've been through so much treatment their entire lives, and they're like, well, you got too much trauma and mental health. Now, you're gonna stay on the street. Also too, let's talk about another one that's gonna be a lot
Okay.
of foster care children, they become pregnant. One of my kids, Lord have mercy, I thought she was gonna give me a heart attack. This is the one who ran away to Florida. Like she would legit just run away. Like I'm running away to Florida, and everyone was praying like, oh, I can't wait till she age out. She was getting pregnant all the time.
Was she keeping the children?
She was having miscarriages. I think she had like two abortions. Lord, cause she was just under a lot of stress, and it was a young white girl. She was just under a lot of stress, and I'm like, honey, I don't know what to tell you. And then she thinking, well, I should have housing and all this other stuff, but no, I'm all like, you don't have any children. Because she kept getting pregnant thinking, oh, I'm going to have extra resources because I'm going to put my child in the foster care too. Because I'm in foster care. We're going to stay in foster care together. That's not how it works. So that's another thing too. When you become pregnant, a lot of times they want to hurry up and get you out the system.
Oh my God.
And see what happened to my other child that had the baby, my black children. I told her, I said, listen, I told her everything she needed to do because I remember when she graduated, I said, all right, you got this baby, get that. I was like, get all the resources. And they were shocked that she knew about the resources because I told her. And then I remember my supervisor was like, well, we don't have the funding like that. And I said, you a lie. Y'all do have the funding.
So they blatantly just lying to these kids.
Yes, they lie. They got so many foundations. There
That
are so many foundations. Each state that you live in have a different foundation that has money set aside too. Okay? So not only the state's gonna give you money, you have a foundation that can give you money. And you can call 211 United Way. Yes, I'm giving all y'all the gems. 211 United Way and ask for the foster care foundation of your state that you live in.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know that was like a thing, you know?
Yep, it's a thing too. And here's another thing. I'm gonna let me pull up something else. You can go ahead, but I'm gonna pull up something in the meantime.
Like I just want to add that like Dre was saying, like a lot of the problems that these kids face when they get out of foster care, it's homelessness, unresolved trauma, risky sexual behavior, and criminal activity. And I was trying to think of, I can't say all these problems without trying to think of some kind of solution. So maybe like mentorships
Mhm.
where you can have these foster kids before they age out. They can start shadowing tradesmen so they can learn a skill to provide for themselves.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I don't know if there's one out there for that, but that's a good idea.
They need exit therapy.
Yes.
Like when you getting ready to graduate and you gotta go talk to financial aid, like your exit financial aid interview or whatever.
Yep,
They need that.
they do.
And they also, they need advocacy for job opportunities. Like you said, a lot of people don't want to hire them, but they need people to advocate for them. Maybe those tradesmen who were their mentors can advocate that this kid needs a chance. They have all these certifications.
Mhm.
And that's just what I want to add to it, because like these things that these kids go through, this breaks people.
Yes, it does. It will break or make who this person is. And we're talking about we want to shape healthy adults, but a lot of times we're not because we're kicking them to the curb. Like, all right, two fingers, go figure it out. Okay. And I want to add this too. This is dope woman. I have the privilege of knowing, and I always, she has this. Her foundation is called Annual Pack a Purse. Her name is Nikki Sanders. She's so dope. She's out of DC. So she every year she does pack a purse or a backpack or donate a luggage to a foster child. Why? Because like I said in the beginning, they just throw your stuff in a trash bag. So what does that mean? You're trash. That's the symbolism of it to me. And what she do is she collect donations in and out of DC area, Maryland area, and she donates so much luggage, purses, for foster care children. Just to give them some dignity and respect. Can you imagine having your stuff in the middle of the night in this black trash bag? Like you got 2 minutes to pack your stuff. So she does this amazing party. You can donate. Here's her website is www.packageforsuccess.com. We're gonna put it in the Facebook. I'm like, what do you need me to do? I mean, you can donate money, you can donate an item if you're in the area, but I usually donate money, and she gets a lot of donations, and she does legit dope work, and she's a fellow social worker, and she just does a lot of dope work that just really touched my heart because I'm like, yo, you don't see a lot of people out here, helping foster care children, especially black foster care children, because that's mainly who she worked with. And it's just tough. We all can do something in our own neighborhood, whether it's filling up a backpack for a foster care child, because a lot of times they don't get school supplies neither.
That's true.
We can, when they have school supplies, we can pick up a list and we can say, hey, you can do 2 bags. You can throw $20. We throw away $20 on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so we can do that. Also, too, another thing we can do is sponsor a child. Um, over for it don't even have to be holidays. You don't celebrate holidays, but sponsor a child and like whatever agency and be like, hey, here's $100 or even $20. Get them school clothes, something, so we can, do great deeds where we're at instead of trying to look for like the state to do it. Because a lot of times let me tell y'all, they only get winter coats once a year. And I know me being from New England, you need a winter coat, baby, for about like 6 months. And these
Yeah.
children grow quick. They grow quickly. So imagine only getting one winter coat, let's say once a year.
Wow. And like, how do they get their clothes? Is it just basically through donation?
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. They're supposed to get a voucher. They're supposed to get a clothing voucher. And I mean, they get a good clothing voucher. But guess what? The foster
The mama
parent of your
foster mom.
choice is going to spend it on dumb ish.
So
Okay,
let's
for
say,
instance, I seen the child this past weekend. I wanted to like drop kick the foster parent. Poor black child. He was a black boy, cute little boy. He didn't have no haircut. You can tell he haven't had a haircut or even had his hair combed or brushed in a few weeks. Okay, they pretty much neglected him, had him all on the side, looking raggedy, and he's with his white foster parents. They had their own little bio kids. The child looked so broken. I just wanted to like stop what I was doing and just take him home with me.
I see that a lot in my area. You see these white people. First off, they're not trained in how to care for their skin, how to care for their hair, and just how to care for them. Because I'm gonna just call it what it is. At the end of the day, black children and white children are different.
Yes,
And if you're not exposed or taught how to care for black children, you're just gonna sit back and just put them on the shelf like a ornament or something, and just get the check for them.
right, right. And that one little class of cultural competency is not gonna cut it. I'm sorry, it's not
They
gonna
just
cut
get one
it.
class in that.
Yeah, they only get one class, and guess who's teaching it?
Somebody
Becky's teaching
white.
it. Becky. What you gonna teach me about shea butter? You gonna teach me how to put shea butter on this black child skin? Are you gonna do that? Cause you don't put no moisturizer on your skin. You gonna teach me how to double strand twist my hair, or do you have a? And I used to ask her like, yo, do you have like a resource book that you could say, hey, these are the black salons to take or the black barbers to take the children to, because we can't go to master cuts.
True.
But that's what it's called. Yeah, master cuts. No. And she's like, oh my God, Andrea. I'm like, so that one little class, you better have a resource book like, hey, this is for like the black children that we have because they have different needs.
Mm. So they're just throwing these kids into these white homes. They're throwing these black children into white homes and saying, sink or swim.
Pretty much. And
Ugh.
mind you, while, like I said, the two black foster, parents we do have, they have how many kids? About like 8 kids. How is like a 65 plus year old? How is, let's say, a 30 something year old gonna deal with 8 kids? It's impossible.
Right.
Then you're dealing with kids who have trauma, who have bedwetting, because when you see bedwetting, let's say 6, 7, 8 years old, they've been
They're being
sexually
molested.
abused.
They're being molested.
Exactly. Exactly. So how are you going to deal effectively and efficiently with 8 kids in your house and you are an elderly person? And that's why I used to salute like my two like I said, them two, they was dope. Like they was, I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it. And they would have 8 plus kids. And we was still like, yo, can you take this kid? Can you take this kid? And I'm like, yo, we can't overload them because they're gonna get burnt out. So
Right.
like I said, consider now, and I'm gonna be straight up if we about to end it. Consider becoming a foster parent, but I want you all to be fully in it. Be passionate about these children. Treat these children like they're your own. Don't go in there for the money. Don't go in there for the resources. Um, and don't mistreat them. Make sure you have time. Make sure that you have the skill set. Make sure you have the love and the compassion and the kindness. Because these kids are so fragile and they're so broken. They don't need to be dealing with any more other bullshit. Let's keep it a buck. So if you can't fit that, do not apply.
Mm. I think you just said that perfectly.
So
Whew. This was a heavy show.
it was. It was. It was. it was a heavy show, but it goes to show that black life, once again, we're showing black life from every aspect, and we're talking about this aspect, and we don't ever hear about these conversations about foster care. And it's not this foo-foo, oh, make you feel good, humanistic. This is like some real ish that goes down.
Yeah, that is. I feel like this is like I just keep saying like this is just slavery. Just pick you one and get you a little money for it.
Right.
While they're sitting here turning these children into domestics. I saw this YouTube videos like what would you do, and it was like foster care mistreatment, and a lot of people they just let it go.
Really?
Yes, it was black people that was going up to like the white foster mom, like where can I get in touch to get in custody for this child because you're basically abusing them.
Wow. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. Oh, and another thing, if y'all do see that, if you see any type of abuse or mishandling, mistreatment, and you know that person's a foster care, guess what? You're a mandate reporter, and you better report it to your state agency.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because I'm coming for you if I know that you know so I'm not funny. But for real, seriously, you are a mandate reporter. So if you see some ish that's like, yo, what's really going on? You're a mandate reporter. You are if you're a black professional, you are a mandate reporter. Even if you're not. If it's your neighbor, you are a mandate reporter, you've seen it, you need to report it immediately. So you need to report it to the police, you need to follow up, and even report it to your local Department of Children and Family Services.
Let's talk about Devontae Hart for a minute because that whole situation could have been avoided.
Right. That whole situation could have been avoided. But you know what? People turn a blind eye to it because they're like, here's these good old, wasn't there two white women?
Mhm.
Here's these two old good old white women. They adopted all these children,
Mhm.
and they just so good. But that whole situation could have been avoided if someone was a mandate reporter and could it don't take you to have a degree. We have that innate intuition when something's off,
Yeah.
and you have to be like, something's off with this whole situation. And why do they want 10 kids, 10 black children, let's just say? Why?
You know why?
Right.
They were sitting up there beating those children, calling them all kinds of nigger. They were just like these children were in hell. And what they did was when the jig was up, they drove off a cliff.
Mhm.
And a year later, when everybody moves past it, then the police want to come out and say, "Oh yeah, it was a murder suicide." Like, come on. And they still haven't found two of those children's bodies.
Right. So even when you see stuff like that, and you don't have to give your name. I know y'all, some of us got this code, I ain't snitching, whatever the case is. But what if that was your child? What if that was your family member?
Mhm.
So you can call, like I said, there's two places. You call your local police and you call the Department of Children and Family Services. And yes, here in Alabama is Department of Human Resources. Because you could be saving this child's life.
That's true.
Even if
That's
they're looking raggedy, if you're like, yo, why are they coming out here? That's neglect. That's neglect. So if they coming out here with like a thin coat on in the winter, because someone will send them out there with like this little windbreaker coat, and you living in Chicago in January.
mm.
Because I've seen cases like that in which, I wasn't in foster care at the time, but I was working, with homeless population. And
Mhm.
I remember one of my clients was like, oh, miss, like my kid, is in foster care. They're not giving her a coat. Look, I had to give up like $50. I said, I'll just have to get fired. And I said, can you please, when you have your supervised visits, I said, you need to report that. And I was like, here's some money and buy your child a coat.
Wow.
And she's like, "Oh, I can report it. And if you are getting reunified with your child, and you see that on supervised visits, yes, you can report that.
Okay.
Okay, you can report that, and also too, you can report any type of medical neglect. See, we can have like we can have three like series on foster care alone, or what you can report, what you can't report. Because if your child's always sick, they always have something broken, that's medical neglect, medical abuse.
Hmm. This is a lot to take in, you know?
It is. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to deal with. Like I said, when I was in it, when you're fresh eyed, before your frontal lobe is even fully developed at 23, it was a lot to like really unpack every day going home. And like I still think about every kid on my caseload. 13 years later, I still think about them. And I'm like, I wonder what they're doing. Are they productive citizens? Are they doing a dope job? Do they, and taking some of the lessons that I taught them, or even, did they get any further help? Far as with therapy or whatever the case is. Like it never goes away. Like you still think about, unless you just truly hate your job. Like you really still think about them. Like, yo, I really just hope something they're out here just whole and healthy. You know.
Yeah. All right. I think we covered it all for the night.
So, guys, thank you so much once again for rocking with us. Like, I have to give a major shout out to everyone who listened, who subscribed. Like, we see y'all out here truly, showing us love and support. So, thank you so much. Like, we put so much, knowledge and energy and research into our podcast. So, we just don't be sitting up here babbling like, yes, we're like dope. So thank you for just even being, faithful listeners.
Right. I really appreciate you guys because, all we want to do is spark the revolution,
Yes.
And I look at this as we're doing the ancestors' work. We have to have these tough conversations because you don't grow when you're comfortable.
Ooh. Amen. Amen. So don't forget to like us on Facebook, the Urban Social Sciences. Tell your people who's ready to listen to the tough conversations, because some people are not ready, right?
Right.
Make sure that you like, you subscribe. We're on Google Play, we on Spotify, we on SoundCloud. Make sure you share the knowledge. Like even if you have a topic you want us to talk about, put that in the comment section. You can inbox us. Check our inbox and our page all the time. If you're a black business or black podcaster, hey, we want to spotlight you. All we ask for is just to share our page. What else? I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
just
right.
yeah, we'll let you know when the episode with your commercial drops in it and we just be like, "Hey man, just share it."
Yes, facts. So much love and light to the Us Tribe. Ali 5000 in this piece.
Later days.
And we out.